Hello, welcome to What If Tanjiro Was a Demon King Part 6. Last time we left of just after Zenitsu beheaded his former senior Kigaku. With everyone caught up, let's begin. Back at the cult room, Doma asks the two girls for their names. KNY then introduces herself as KNY Zuiori, adding that she is the little sister of Kani and Shinobu Koko. Doma is confused, judging that she doesn't appear blood-related to the two but nonetheless comments that young girls are delicious anyway. He then asks who the other beauty is while slightly licking his lips, with Hanako introducing herself by appearing in front of Doma, knocking him off his feet and slamming his face into the floor, cracking it with a crescent kick. Hearing the name of Hanako, recognizing her as the brother of the second demon progenitor who killed his former best friend Akaza, mourning his death. KNY tells him to stop the lies as she figures out Doma does not feel the least bit saddened as the color on his face stayed the same. When Doma responds back it's due to him being a demon, but KNY retorts by mentioning that demons and humans both circulate blood and the color of their faces can change. She mentions that Kani had felt sorry for him as he feels nothing. She talks about how all people are born with the ability to feel happiness, as well as sadness and anger. Doma cannot understand these feelings, but knowing he was intelligent, KNY instead tears into how he covers up his lack of feelings with a facade of lies, pretending to experience emotion to hide the fact his heart feels nothing. He feels no happiness, no bitterness, no pain, calling him an empty shell and saying his facade is so comical, it's stupid. Finally, she mockingly asks, "Why were you even born?" Doma comments that throughout his life, he has talked with numerous young women but never ably like KNY and asks how could she say something so cruel. KNY retaliates by saying her outright hatred of him, her desire to cut off his head. She changes her opinion of him, "You're not very smart, are you?" calling him a disgrace, and smiling as she mentions it was better to kill him as his life is utterly pointless and meaningless. Doma instantly appears behind her, trying to slice her neck but KNY reacts in time however and crouches down to slash through his abdomen. When he tries to send out ice dolls to hit her, she dodges the incoming attack to safety with Hanako burning them. As Doma heals, he comments that her reaction speed had accelerated, she is adjusting to his own movement. She has not inhaled any of his ice despite it being extremely difficult to attack in her manner without a breathing technique. Doma suddenly realizes that KNY might actually be more powerful than Shinobu. Stepping back, Hanako decides to protect Shinobu and only attack if or when KNY is in danger. KNY feels the goosebumps throughout her body aren't stopping. She even knows to put strength into her fingertips to hold her sword, or risk its shaking. She mentions the demons she had faced in the past pale in comparison to Doma, but she is able to face him due to the immense anger she feels, anger so powerful it feels like her body is burning. She feels she must rampage at him or her body would rip itself apart, the dizziness in her head and her anger turning into hatred. She calls that she hates Doma and asks how he could try to kill her family. KNY vanishes and instantly appears before him, using the flower-breathing, fifth form, ponies of futility to rapidly slash him. Doma comments the consecutive attacks are pretty and retaliates with his blood demon art, Barren Hanging Garden. KNY attacks back with the flower-breathing, second form, Honorable Shadow Plum to destroy the created ice. Doma notices the key to withstanding his attacks are her eyes. She notices his movements and predicts his next actions in anticipation. Complimenting her as smart and the above-average swordsman, the demon decides the best course of action is to gouge them out. Doma slashes at her face but KNY bends back, sustaining a small cut on the side of her temple. Using the flower-breathing, sixth form, Whirling Peach, she attacks back at the upper rank, who compliments her body and flexibility as well-trained and akin to a spring. Doma deploys his fearsome freezing clouds, forcing KNY to close her eyes or risk freezing them. While on the defensive, she is attacked again by Doma using Blood Demon Art, Lotus Vines, the ice vines converging on her and forcing KNY to slice the incoming attack to defend against them. When she is finished cutting them apart, Doma quickly attacks again with his Blood Demon Art, Cold White Princesses, two ice figures of women that spray the icy fog in her direction. KNY again backs away to avoid the fog but must dodge again when Doma unleashes his Blood Demon Art, wintry icicles form from above and nearly impale her. Doma taunts her for getting away from him, mentioning that in order to kill him, she needs to get up close. He disappears for a moment and reappears, clutching her Nishirin sword, despite KNY aware and anticipating his next moves. Doma mocks her for not holding onto the sword and sticks it near him. He tells the demon slayer to come and get it, and deploys his blood demon art, scattering lotuses in her direction. KNO forces herself to look through the incoming hail of ice to find the area of minimum damage but sustains multiple cuts to her face. Suddenly Hanako appears in front of the attack, using Cupid's flame, to freeze the attack in place, then using love-breathing sixth form, cat-legged winds of love, to disperse it. She then appears using first form, shivers of first love to amputate his hands, snatching back KNO's sword, giving it back to her. She then activated the mark and transparent world, turning her sword red, using fifth form, swaying love, wild claw to easily weave in between all of Doma's attacks, cut off Doma's arms and legs, pointing her blade at Doma, stabbing it down into his head when he attempted to regenerate. Suddenly, Inosuke smashes through the roof, announcing, out of the sky, Lord Inosuke's coming in, and using beast breathing, fifth fang, crazy cutting, to scatter hundreds of deep cuts along Doma's chest. Inosuke looks at Doma's eyes and enthusiastically realizes he is upper rank too. He declares he will defeat him and finally become a Hashira. A confused Doma mentions he isn't hiding his identity as upper rank too. Inosuke sees the injured KNO and warns her that Shinobu will get angry at seeing her condition. But when KNO doesn't respond and she becomes upset, Inosuke is stunned into silence. So that Inosuke doesn't get the situation confused, Hanako points towards Shinobu's body, explaining that she has been transformed into a demon to heal her injuries but is resting due to energy drain. Inosuke is shocked, remembering a memory he had where Shinobu Pinky promised him to not remove the bandage of his injured hand. Inosuke angrily declares I'll gnaw you to shreds, trash and charges towards Doma, despite KNO warning him not to inhale the cold air he creates. Using his beast breathing, fourth fang, slice and dice, Inosuke slashes at Doma, the demon commenting on his messed up technique as well as noticing his chipped blades and unorthodox fighting style. When Doma attempts to slash at Inosuke's neck, he flips back and deflects the fan with his feet, earning a compliment from the upper rank for his flexibility and intrigued by his mask. Inosuke lands next to KNO and Hanako, and asks for a turn to fight him all by himself. Doma comments that the Demon Slayer is fast and grows more ice to attack, only for Inosuke to deflect them back and kick him in the stomach, knocking him away. As he compliments him again, Inosuke charges forward and readies a slash. Doma comments that the attack is far from the sword's range, so when the boar-headed fighter swings, he becomes shocked that the attack had reached him and slashes across his eyes. Inosuke had used beast breathing, ninth fang, extending bendy slash, dislocating the joints of his arm to extend his range. He relocates the bones of his arm but is angered that the new attack's inaccuracy made him miss Doma's head, to KNO's shock. Doma is amused at his unusual opponent and comments that throughout his own long life, he had never met a fighter like him. Inosuke takes the compliment and says it's because the other riffraff losers are nothing compared to me. But while Inosuke is talking, his mask instantly appears off his face, surprising him and shocking KNO. Doma had stolen it without either Demon Slayer other than Hanako noticing and comments the boar skin is quite old. As Inosuke angrily demands his mask back, Doma suddenly responds that he knows and has seen Inosuke's face before. Doma asks if he and Inosuke had met in the past, causing Inosuke angrily retorts his statement and demand his hands off his mask. However, Doma is sure they have and that he knows him from somewhere. Inosuke responds again that he has not met Doma before. Doma mentions the one he encountered before was Shinobu, leading Inosuke to comment that he felt as if he had met her before, hoping to ask her the next time they met. When KNO attempts to lead Inosuke away, saying Doma is spouting random nonsense, Doma becomes surprised and offended, stating his only saving grace is his seriousness and long and clear memory, even during his human years. With that, Doma pierces his own skull with his finger, to KNO and Inosuke's shock and disgust. Doma fiddles with his brain until he reaches a particular memory and retells it to the two. 15 years ago, there was a young woman with a baby, roughly 17 to 18 years of age. She was abused by her husband and mother-in-law daily and encountered Doma's paradise faith cult. She had no siblings or parents and had no place else to go to. When Doma first met her, her face was severely swollen from the beatings, commenting it was pretty rough even to him. The woman was even partially blinded. But when he touched the woman's face, her face went back to normal. She was so beautiful, it left a lasting impression on even the apathetic Doma. He mentions she had the same face as Inosuke and concludes she must be his mother. Inosuke says that he has no mother and was raised by boars. To Doma's amusement, you're a human, so a human must have given birth to you. Inosuke charges forward and readies his beast breathing, sixth fang, to KNY's concern, only for Doma to state this encounter is a miracle and simultaneously slash at Inosuke's chest twice, creating an X-like mark. He quickly summons more ice and knocks both demon slayers into the cult room's pond. As KNY urges Inosuke to calm down, Doma continues his story. He had no intention of eating the woman, as having someone beautiful next to you feels pretty good, you know. Though he considered her unintelligent, she was talented at singing. The woman continually sang a pinky promise lullaby to her baby, Doma mentioning that she sang with different lyrics each time and adding the song soon became a village song. Inosuke realizes that pinky promise was not because of Shinobu. He purely planned on letting her live her life, but learned that though she wasn't particularly smart, the woman, named Kotoha, was sharp. She soon learned Doma devoured the followers of the cult. Confronting him for his lies and fleeing the temple, Kotoha apologized to Inosuke, cursing herself for continually making mistakes, going the wrong way, and repeated saying she was sorry. She became lost in the forest and unable to find the human village. Cornered at a cliff's edge, she apologizes once more to Inosuke before dropping him off the cliff into the water. Doma kills her shortly after. He believed the baby would die dropped from the cliff and cried at how sad the situation has become. Inosuke suddenly figures out she was killed, his mother was killed. Doma ate her to the very bone and noted if she went to her husband, he would continue beating her. And if she was alone by herself on the road, she would end up dead as well. Doma mocks Kotoha's life for being so unfortunate, was there ever a happy moment in her life, and calls her existence pointless. KNY furiously tells him to shut up. As Inosuke grabs his fallen sword from the water, he remembers his mother's love for him. Doma comments, it truly is a miracle, meeting you here. Inosuke, filled with rage, declares the demon who killed his mother and my friends is right before my eyes. Inosuke stuns and thanks Doma for letting him remember everything, but voices he won't cut off his head now. He takes a stances and readies to fight Doma, declaring I'll show you what true hell is like. Doma tells Inosuke that though he was raised by boars and knows his way with words, he is mistaken. The demon claims heaven and hell don't exist, figments of human fantasies. To him, the humans who live righteously suffer tragedies, while the evil live free to do whatever they want, adding that since divine punishment doesn't exist, mentally weak people therefore believe the evil go to hell upon death. He tells them that they keep this belief deep in their minds and calls humans pitiful. Inosuke decides that instead, he'll create hell for Doma. As he charges, telling Doma to stop talking about his mother's life as unfortunate, Doma retaliates with his blood demon art, freezing cloud. Inosuke uses his 10th fang, whirling fangs, rotating his blades to disperse the icy cloud. KNY attempts to attack Doma from behind, but he anticipates it, swiping his fans at her neck. Though she parries the fan, his swipe still knocks her into the water. Doma clings to the roof, causing Inosuke to yell for him to come down and face him. Doma tells them that as Akaza is defeated, he no longer has the time, instead creating ice dolls to fight the demon slayers. As they land, Inosuke and KNY are confused, but are soon shocked when the dolls use scattering lotuses to fight them. Doma tells them the ice dolls are as powerful as him, leaving them to it as he leaves, making Inosuke furious. Seeing this, Hanako jumps in, using Cupid's flame and love breathing to hold off and destroy the ice dolls, telling KNY and Inosuke to continue to fight Doma. As Doma opens the door of the cult room, his face begins to melt, confusing him, to KNY's hope. He collapses to the floor and suddenly thinks back to Shinobu. In his peripheral vision, a small framed figure could be seen, surrounded by beautiful butterflies, which she orders to kill Doma, as they land on Doma, spreading poison throughout his body. The figure now revealed to be the newly demonified Shinobu, using her newly developed blood demon art, Queen Butterfly's fangs, melting Doma, who is now collapsed, crawling on his knees trying to fight the poison flowing throughout his veins. Within a few seconds, Shinobu appears in front of Doma, telling him to go to hell, slicing his head off with her new demonic strength. With the battle now over, the Slayers minus Inosuke celebrate Shinobu's survival and newly found vengeance. Meanwhile, Inosuke stomps on the place where Doma's disintegrated head once was, yelling insults. Growing dizzy, he falls to the ground. He then recalls a conversation he had with Tanjiro and Zenitsu. Inosuke had been yelling that he didn't have a mother. Tanjiro tells him that everyone has to have a mother, to which Inosuke responds that he was abandoned, which meant that his mother did not want him. Zenitsu replies that if Inosuke had truly been abandoned, his mother wouldn't have bothered to name him. Inosuke retorts back that he doesn't have memories of his mother, which was the same as not having one at all. Tanjiro gently reminds him to not speak of his mother that way, stating that his mother must have loved him a lot. Meanwhile elsewhere Gyomir and Muichiro continue through the castle, sensing Muzan is close. Suddenly, a wall compartment pushes Muichiro, separating the two. He is forced through multiple walls before landing in a room full of numerous pillars. The demon inside notices him and comments he looks rather familiar. Muichiro is shocked, now face to face with Upper Moon 1. Kokushibo examines Muichiro Tokito in the transparent world and recognizes something in the boy, as Muichiro looks on at him. Thinking that Upper Rank 1 is quite dignified and majestic, Muichiro notices the blade at the demon's side and wonders if he had been a demon slayer in the past. Suddenly, Muichiro's hand starts shaking, with his sword hilt in its grip, unable to shake off a feeling of dread from being in front of Kokushibo. With his body refusing to battle, something that had never happened before in his entire life, Muichiro attempts to compose himself. Kokushibo asks him what his name is and Muichiro tells him with Kokushibo responding that the Zuchikuni name has died out. Puzzled, Muichiro asks him who Zuchikuni is and Kokushibo continues and says that it was inevitable after so many centuries. The upper rank then tells Muichiro that when he had been human his name was Mishikatsu Zuchikuni and then reveals that Muichiro is his descendant. Muichiro's eyes widen in shock and he refuses to believe it at first, with his mind swimming with questions about the upper rank. Coming back to Earth quickly, Muichiro steels himself and prepares to attack. Kokushibo praises his mental strength, lauding him for overcoming his panic in such a short time as Muichiro swoops forward and attacks him with a mist-breathing, second form, 8-layered mist that the demon effortlessly dodges in the blink of an eye. Activating the mark and transparent world also, Muichiro attacks using mist-breathing, 5th form, sea of clouds and haze, but the 6-eyed upper moon dodges it. Displeased, Muichiro rebuffs the upper rank, saying that if hundreds of years have indeed passed then not a drop of Kokushibo's blood remains in him. Muichiro performs a mist-breathing, 7th form, obscuring clouds, a technique Kokushibo had never seen before. As Muichiro slices at the demon's neck, Kokushibo quickly evades the attack, impressed with the beauty and grace of the attack. Drawing his own blade, Kokushibo performs a moon-breathing, 1st form, Dark Moon, Evening Palace that Muichiro is unable to keep up with and the Hashira loses his left hand as a result. Shocked that the upper rank is able to use breathing techniques as a demon, Muichiro quickly attempts to restrict the bleeding from the stump of his arm by tightening the sleeves of his robe with his teeth. Dashing forward, Muichiro attacks Kokushibo despite his injuries and the demon is impressed at the courage and skill of his descendant. As the Mist Hashira performs a mist-breathing, 4th form, shifting flow slash, Kokushibo catches the boy's blade between his fingers and turns it on him, pinning him to a pillar and then asks Muichiro to allow him to turn the Hashira into a demon so that he could serve Muzan. Okay guys, this is the end of the 6th part. If you enjoyed the video please don't forget to like